Hello and welcome to Pilates Day 1. Today we're going to introduce the key principles, and I think the best way to learn these is in action through experience. So let's pop down onto the mat and get started. So let's start by aligning the body by lengthening the back of the neck, broadening the collarbones, gliding the tips of your shoulder blades down your back towards your back pockets. We're going to come to the ribs and the pelvis a little later. So let's start by using the breath as a guide to bring us deeper in connection with our body. So take your hands to the outer ribs. Take a slow enough, long enough, deep enough breath through both nostrils and feel your side ribs press into your hands. As you breathe out through your mouth, can you feel your side ribs move away from your hands? Inhale into the back ribs, feeling your back ribs sink deeper into the mat as you breathe in through both nostrils. And exhale, feel the ribs move away from the mat slightly. Now we're going to aim to take a 360-degree breath, sending your breath in all directions. Take a deep, nourishing inhale through both nostrils. And as you exhale, open your mouth and take a clearing sigh to let something go. From here, coming to the pelvis position, imagine there's a little marble and we're going to drop it kind of in that halfway space between your belly button and your pubic bone. Then we're going to roll that little marble back towards your belly button. And to achieve this, notice what happens in the body. Notice your pelvis having to scoop and tuck, flatten the lower back. Now, a lot of people have a tendency to lift their bum here, really try to resist that urge. And then we're going to take that little marble and we're going to roll it from the belly button down through the pubic bone, like it wants to go towards your groins. Notice what happens in the lower back and rib area. The lower back lifts, ribs, the front ribs flare slightly. So we're going to take those two actions again. Feel that marble roll back towards your belly button. The back flattens, the bum scoops and tucks. And then feel that marble roll towards your pubic bone, the front of your pelvis, the back lifts. Now, can you find the middle point between those two curves? So like your marble is sitting nice and balanced and still in that halfway point between your belly button and your pubic bone. We refer to this as the neutral pelvic position. Now take your hands to your front ribs. A lot of people that experience back pain and primarily the postnatal population tend to be rib flarers. Think of holding your baby for months, okay, and the bump growing, the ribs tend to kind of get out of the way and the rib angle at the front of the body can become a little wider or more elevated. So I would like you to feel the difference in your body when you encourage your back ribs to sink into the mat. Notice the front ribs draw in and down. And I would like you to aim to keep the ribs here as you sweep the hands overhead. Take an inhale, keep the ribs in place. As you exhale, take the arms overhead. Notice, do the ribs want to flare? So it's that little action. Let's really tune into those finite movements. Take an inhale. Exhale, sweep the hands overhead. But can you really challenge yourself to keep those ribs set in place? Super. One more. Take an inhale. Exhale, sweep those hands overhead. And this time we're going to snow angel them out and around and back to center. This time, let's focus on stabilizing the pelvis. Bring your hands to the pelvic bones. Now, in Pilates, we talk about engaging and activating your core. But as a teacher, over the years, I found that a lot of students don't really know where the core muscles are and how to find them. So let's bring our hands to the front of the pelvis, these little novelty pelvic bones. You come in an inch and down an inch and you poke in there, okay? And when the deep inner core muscles, primarily I'm talking about the transverse abdominis. So transverse is a term that refers to across. So the across abs, the abs that kind of wrap around the waist like a corset. To access them, when you poke your fingers in here, when they're not active, you should feel that they're a little squishy, okay? Now these muscles activate in sync with your deep inner pelvic floor muscles. It can feel a little funny when we first start to connect with these muscles because what you're doing is you're actually switching on your pelvic floor, primarily your bladder muscles, and you should feel these kick in. So we're going to imagine we are bursting to pee and we are going to stop ourselves peeing and we should feel these kick in. So let's do it together. Take an inhale, and when you do, feel how under the fingers are squishy when those muscles aren't active. And in sync with your exhale, draw up through the front passage of your pelvic floor like you're stopping yourself peeing. And can you feel under your fingers starting to firm a little? Inhale, let those transverse abdominis muscles go. Feel how under your fingers again become squishy. And as you exhale, draw up through the front passage of your pelvic floor like you're stopping yourself mid-flow. Can you feel under your fingers firm? The feeling I connect with is like there's a magnet on my left pelvic bone and my right pelvic bone. And when I engage those muscles, it feels like those two magnets want to draw towards each other. So let's do this in sync with breath. Take a deep, nourishing inhale again. Exhale up through the pelvic floor. Feel the inner core fire and engage. Try to resist the temptation to flatten your back this time. Keep that neutral pelvic position. Marvelous balance. Take an inhale. 360-degree breath in all directions. Exhale up through the pelvic floor. Feel the inner core fire. Try not to flatten out the back. Okay, a little challenge coming up. Take an inhale. As you exhale, draw up through the pelvic floor. Feel the inner core fire exactly like we have been doing. And imagine there's a little ant crawling under the right foot. Can you hover it just an inch off the floor and try to maintain stability and balance in the center of the body? Inhale, lower that right foot. So tune into the finite movements of the body. Take an inhale. Keep the ribs set down and observe what happens as you exhale. Engage the core and hover the left. Do you move? Do you sway? Do you rock or roll to one side? Try to resist that temptation. Let's try one more time. Set the ribs down. Take an inhale. As you exhale, feel the inner core support the center of the body and hover the right. Inhale, lower it down. Take an inhale again. 360 degrees. You're doing great. Exhale up through the pelvic floor. Feel the inner core fire and hover the left. Inhale, lower. Now, if you feel you're at sea with all this sinking breath and feeling into the body, you are not alone. When I work with people one-to-one, I always get this kind of stare or this glance saying, I'm totally confused. And I would say, please hold in there at this point, because the more we pattern this into the body, the more it just makes sense. And the more we progress on through Pilates and start to incorporate some more challenging movements, the more you'll really feel the benefits of this. So let's challenge this a tiny bit more today. We're going to knit those ribs again. Take an inhale. As you exhale, draw up through the pelvic floor. Feel the inner core fire. And this time we're going to take the right leg to a tabletop position. So that's where the knee is in line with the hip. The toes are pointing forward and the foot is ever so slightly higher than the knee. Now, as I inhale, I'm really tuning in here to the center of my body. Do my ribs want to lift? Does my back want to grip? I'm really trying to not let it. Keep those back ribs sinking down. Good work. Take an inhale in all directions. Exhale up through the pelvic floor. Feel the inner core fire and lift. Super. Inhale. Control the center of the body. Try not to let the body deviate or move. Imagine you're set in cement. Good. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, lift the right. Inhale, lower. Keep those ribs set down. Stabilize the body. Exhale, up through the pelvic floor. Can you feel the inner core fire as you lift? Smooth, balanced inhale as you slowly lower it down. So hopefully you're really getting into rhythm with the tabletops. We're going to challenge it a little bit. Take an inhale to prepare. Exhale to lift. This time, we're going to bring some longer levers in. We're going to take the hands overhead, keeping the ribs sinking down. Take a deep, nourishing inhale. Breathe and expand in all directions. And as you exhale, we're going to straighten the right leg forward, squeezing the right quads, really pointing the toe up towards the corner of the ceiling and wall. Inhale back to center. Exhale, this time straighten the legs and take the arms back, but really observe what happens in the rib cage. Can you keep the ribs knitting down? Can you feel the back wants to kick in? Can you down regulate that? Let it soften. Try not to let it kick in. 2 more. Take an inhale. Exhale, stretch. Feel the core support you. Inhale back. Last time. Exhale, stretch. Feel the inner core kick in. Inhale back to center and exhale with control. Let's lower that right knee. Okay, are we ready to swap sides? Knit the ribs. Check your marble position. Sweep the hands overhead. Take an inhale. As you exhale, feel the inner core fire to lift. So we're really challenging ourselves to stay stable in the center. Take an inhale. As you exhale, keep those ribs sinking into the mat as you sweep the legs and the hands. Inhale back to center. Feel the core. Exhale, stretch. Inhale, center. Exhale, stretch. Feel the inner core fire. Inhale, center. 1 more. Exhale, stretch. Inhale, back to center. Good job. Take the hands to the tummy. Take a deep, nourishing inhale. And can you feel a belly breath and the calming effects of it as we inhale into our hands? Feel the tummy distend. And exhale out through the mouth. This time we're going to take the hands behind the head into what I call the hanger position. We're going to lift head, neck, shoulder blades up, and I would like you to look to your tummy and notice, are you doming or bulging or stretching those abs up? If so, relax the head for a second. That tells me 2 things. It tells me you're not really maybe exhaling on the effort. When the going gets tough, do we blow the pressure out of the body? Or maybe we're not activating those deep inner core muscles. So this time, when we lift the head, I would really like you to feel the deep inner core kick in to support you. This is one of the key things, especially if you've had a diastasis recti, separation in the abs postnatally. This can really help you, and we're really trying to avoid that doming and bulging and pooching of the ab appearance. So take the hands behind the head. Take a deep, nourishing inhale to prepare. As you exhale, pelvic floor fires first. Feel those magnets draw in. Look down to the abs and see if it changes. Inhale, lower just halfway, but really try to keep length in the back of the neck. I like to keep my gaze between my legs. Exhale, lift. Feel the inner core fire. Inhale, lower. Good work. Exhale, lift. Inhale, fire. Feel the difference when you engage. Exhale, feel the drawing in. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Inhale in all directions. Exhale. Inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And gently relax the head. Let's relax the hands down by the sides. Now, some of you, especially if you're new to that movement, will feel the neck. And what that tells me is the neck probably contracted a lot through that exercise to help you out. So during that exercise, I would like you to start activating the deep inner core muscles of the neck. So how we access them is to gaze to the ceiling initially. And now, without lifting the head, turn your gaze in the direction of your belly button. Now, I cannot see my belly button, but I'm trying to gaze in that direction. And you should feel a lengthening and the stretching of the back of the neck, a contraction in the front neck. So these are your core muscles of your neck, and this is how we strengthen them. So relax again. So if you feel with this initial exercise, a lot of stretching, a lot of pulling, okay, and a lot of effort through this chin tuck exercise, which you can also do in sitting and standing, I would stay here today. If not, tuck the chin, keep the chin tucked, and can you hover the head just an inch off the floor? Feel all the turbulence, the contraction, the activation, and when you start to fatigue, which for me is about now, let's relax the head down, and let yourself recover. Okay, so that is a really nice exercise to strengthen up the neck muscles. Remember, the head is heavy, so it took me a long time just to do the chin tucks before I was at the stage of hovering, but it's lovely to learn the progressions at this stage. One final key principle before we progress on to finding our flow. So when we lift one leg up, you might find you're really kind of getting to terms with bracing and stabilizing the center. It's a lot harder when we lift both legs up. The reason being, the legs are heavy and they act like a weight on our pelvis, and very often the pelvis might want to tip forward, the back might want to grip and stabilize us, and the ribs might want to flare. So in Pilates exercises, anytime the legs are lifted, we're always trying to fight the urge for the body to do this, okay, to lose stability. So we always adopt a technique that we call the imprint or brace. So to really get to feel this, take one hand under your lower back and feel the activity in your back muscles. Flare the ribs, lift the back, and feel when you do this how the back muscles become tight, they become active, they become switched on. Okay, if you have had a back injury, your back muscles might be quite inclined to go into this mode. So I want you to feel the difference when you draw the front ribs down, sink the back ribs into the mat, and feel the difference in activity in your back. Can you see how it switches off? Okay, so we're trying to maintain that sinking of the back ribs. I like to call this the Rib Pelvic Connection. It's like my front ribs, there's a magnet magnetizing towards my hip bones, really trying to draw my ribs towards my pelvis. So can we keep this as we inhale? Exhale, lift the right and the left leg up to a double tabletop position. Keep the ribs sinking down, take an inhale in all directions. Let's challenge our ability to stay here as we exhale, toe tap by just bending the knee, not so much lengthening the leg, just a quick knee bend to tap the toes onto the floor, and inhale back to center. Ribs set down, inhale. Exhale, let's tap the left toe. Feel the inner core support you. Inhale back to center, keep the ribs setting down. One more either side, exhale, toe, tap the right. Slow it down to really feel those subtle little movements in your body. Inhale, center. Last time, keep sinking those back ribs down. Exhale, tap. Inhale, center. Final exercise. Lift head, neck, shoulders, shoulder blades, tuck the chin. Press the hands into the knees, knees into the hands. Inhale, 1. Exhale. Inhale, 2. Keep pressing. Inhale, 3. Keep pressing. And slowly lower the head. Let's relax the feet. Sweep the hands to the side. Walk the feet as wide as the mat. Inhale the knees to the right, just as much as your lower back and body will tolerate. Exhale back to center. Inhale left. I call these the windshield wiper knees. So you're imagining your shins are like windshield wipers. You're gently wiping just a little drizzle off the windscreen. Gently mobilizing and massaging your pelvis and lower back off the floor. From here, let's bring the arms back to the mat. We'll roll to the side and help ourselves back up into a seated position. So well done for completing your first session of Pilates. I hope it went really well for you. My best advice is to repeat this class a couple of times, become really familiar with the key principles, and then progress to the next stage when you're ready to find your flow. Well done for completing section 1, and I will see you on the mat again soon. Bye.